Hello, almost Shabbat Shalom, end of an era, beginning of a new era. Let's see here. We are in the beginning of a new period, a new area. We're actually been in the beginning of a new period, a new area for a while. We're in the midst of shifting from one consciousness to a different level of consciousness. And it's fascinating how every time when I come and I sit with you here, and how the portion of the Torah of this week, and just the events that are accumulating until now really serve the purpose of what opportunity do we have here, what lessons we can learn from, what can we gravitate to, what we don't gravitate to, what is part of our construct. And our construct is an ever learning process, right? We are going through these times in our lives where we are more than not really learning, but not by addition, learning by subtraction, subtracting all those filters, removing things away from us. If you look at your journey, at your past journey this year, let's take this year because we're now in the beginning of a new Gregorian year, and so an era. If you take this time, you will notice that yes, aside from the learning, aside from understanding new things, those are things that many times you've known in your kishke, in your solar plexus, in your gut. But really what it is turning out to be a removal. So we're learning by removing that which was a filter on our eyes, or a certain thought process, or a certain belief that is so strong that we don't want to let it go because, oh my God, until I've come to trust and to believe this process or whatever is happening, now you're telling me to let it go. Now you're telling me to, this is like, I'm learning it, yeah, and so that is scary, especially during these times, these 2 years of this Coronic era. But really, the intention of those who inflicted all the complications, and maybe even probably even the source of it, of what is happening, really wanted to create a state of isolation, a state of fear, a state of fear. Studies that are showing that people are producing more energy during time of fear. And when we are in fear, the energy that is produced is much greater because it is fight or flight. It is do I survive or what do I do? So there is much more energy, but that energy comes from fear. That produces this frequency that is a fearful one, that is coming from fear. So this is this 101 how to control by causing people to be in fear, and therefore creating more energy by the people, and now they can mine our energy, and so to create this separation and isolation. So we are in this time of moving away from what we were told, what we knew, and what we believed to be true, right? Now, truth, as I said many times, truth has no emotions. It just is. And so when we apply all these belief systems and emotions, suddenly it becomes, it's not just a pasta, but it's pasta with this and with anchovies and with ta. It's like coffee, right? Where's the pure coffee? I just want black coffee. But now you're going to one of those coffee shops and you have a caramelized, whipped, non-fat latte, stripped, added. There's all these things. It's the same thing with truth. Truth is like black coffee. It's pure. It's just this. It's coffee. What we add to it is what we make of it. So to come and to deconstruct all this, you'll see that the process throughout this year, really for your journey, was really understanding things and seeing, this is really what it is. And so if you had this experience, share that, because this is really another stage in the process. When you share something like this, it's another stage of the process of accepting. And Kabbalah is not about receiving, but about accepting. So this portion of this week is Va'era. And what it is about really that I want to bring is about the choices that we make. Where do we make them from? It leads into duality. So this there is a sentence in the Talmud. It says in Aramaic, "Lafon gamla shichana," which means the camel's weight will be according to the camel's size. God gives us the experiences that we are here to experience because we are in the position to handle everything. We will never receive an experience that we cannot handle, that we cannot contain, that we cannot come from a place of strength and grow from that. And this portion of this week is really showing, is a wonderful example on how God, how the universe, how the creation is handling us, is working with us, is teaching us. Look at an experience that you had today, or this time, this week, today. Would you be able to go through the same experience 5 years ago, a year ago? What would your reaction or your response be if you would have gone through that experience 5 years ago? Separation, a conflict, a disagreement with somebody about something. How did you handle it today versus how do you think you would handle it a year ago or 5 years ago? Depends on where you were back then. So this is the portion is talking about Pharaoh and the plagues, and why Pharaoh really got punished, or why he was taught his own lesson, so to speak. Right, so first Moses comes and tells Pharaoh, "Let my people go," and he comes with a cane, with a staff, and Pharaoh, who we talked about last time, didn't really know who Joseph was, who all this tradition that, and not just tradition, the enormous contribution that Joseph gave to Egypt. And so they do like a magic trick, like a magic show and tell, right? And Moses throws his staff on the ground, and the staff turns into a snake. And the magicians, the dark magic people, the priests of Pharaoh, threw the same thing, threw the stick on the ground, and it turned into a snake. Then Moses took the snake from its tail, and it became a staff again. So did the others. And then the staff of Moses ate the other staffs. So it wasn't a snake that ate the other snakes, it was a staff that ate the staff. That thing the magicians couldn't do, the sorcerers couldn't do. Still, Pharaoh is not convinced, and then Moses comes and insists that we want to go for 3 days in the desert to worship our God, and then we'll come back. What in reality happened, eventually when they went to the 3 days, the army that escorted Moses and the people saw that they're just continuing to march, and then they came back to Pharaoh, and that's when all the army was charged after Israel, because they continued the 3 days. So the question is, why does God have to instruct Moses to tell a lie, basically? Hey, we're only going for 3 days, but actually when he plans on not coming back, I mean, what is God not, not capable? Why to lie to Pharaoh? And he says that Pharaoh, in his own construct at that time, could not handle the fact that Israel would be gone forever. He could not handle. It wouldn't happen, he could not handle, and he wouldn't be able to absorb it. So the reason he was punished is because he didn't want to let them go even for 3 days, which 3 days is something that Pharaoh could handle. He could handle. But after the fourth plague, then Pharaoh let them go to worship for 3 days. But that he could handle. That he could handle at the time. Later on, he could handle the next phase. So he wasn't punished really for not letting Israel go altogether, let my people go. It was really for his own, by his own capacity, what he could handle. He didn't let Israel leave, the Israelites leave for 3 days. But then another interesting happened. Once, when he said no, then God brought the plague. Brought God the blood and the frogs. And so what happens when he brought the plague? So now the balance, the balance of the scale is shifted, because now God brought a plague. So so most likely Pharaoh is going to be afraid. So he's going to release the people. But in order to balance that, the energy level of Pharaoh, so he's in his natural state, not out of fear state, God brings the plague. God brings the plague, and then God hardens, what it says, hardens Pharaoh's heart again. Why? So now Pharaoh is back in the same place where he was in the beginning, where Moses said, let my people go. So now you have a choice. Again, free choice, right? It's choice. Where is that? Now, some people will say we don't have free choice, and to a certain extent, we don't. What I do say is that in the junction before we make a choice, we have that free choice. Once we make that choice, the choice is not free anymore, right? Because it was made. And now the consequences of that choice will happen based on that path that I took. I could change it in every time, but the initial choice is free in the beginning. So it brings to it brings to an understanding of how we can handle, how we are to handle also everyday life, especially now. We are towards an end of this 2021 and 2020 before that, but this year that has been a year of many choices to make, many realizations that have come through. And where do we make this choice from? Do we make this choice from a fear place, a place of fear, a place that is, by the way, not not the natural state of human being? Our natural state is joy, is happiness. That is our natural state. To know that, to learn that, look at babies. Look at babies, look at children. Children are, by definition, they're happy. Unless something you took from them, or something moved around. But other than that, they're happy. And this is how we know that our natural state, our natural inclination is happiness. And this time, as we go through our journey, whether it's this year, 10 years, we'll see that we're learning more by subtraction, learning by the subtraction of what we've gained, because what we've learned may have served us for a certain period of time, but it doesn't serve us anymore. It doesn't serve us anymore to be in these places. So we are in first accepting Kabbalah, accepting that, and then releasing that, and then letting it go. It's just like what happened to Pharaoh, but we have to be in our natural state of frequency. What is our natural state of frequency? Not because I got punished, now I'm going to do this. I want to do that. That comes from our will, from my desire, and the desire that creates the will. And so we have this equation. How are we manifesting? How are we going from one space to another? How can we manifest what we choose? How can we manifest what we want? And where is what we want or what we choose come from? Is it coming from our center, or is it coming from bias here or bias there? Now, granted, we're always in a pull and push. Sometimes we're here and we pull to here, sometimes we're here and we push to here. But our center is always showing itself. Our center is always vibrating, and you can feel this vibration when you feel this heart expansion. So, so if we are looking at ourselves in our daily life, and you find yourself that you compare your life to others, you say, "Oh, well, if I had a different family, if I had a different experience, then I would have done that. Then I would have done that." But these experiences that we experience, those families that we were born into, the stories that we were born into, are exactly the right stories for each person to go through and to crack that code and to crack that open, and to crack that learned experience, to let it reveal what's underneath, and to let it go, to accept it and to let it go. This is really, as time goes by, I'm just learning this more and more and more. It is not about what I learn, but it is about how I learn it. And not what I was in another life, but what do I do with it? What do I do with what I came? Obviously, I'm here again. Obviously, we are here again. So how do we learn? What did we learn from last time? What are we learning now? Can we bring ourselves to consciously understand and accept that which we are being shown? So with this Shabbat coming on exactly at this time of shift, of change, this specific portion, the duality, where we are, where we're always pull and push, where are we making our choice from? I wish for each one of you, each one of us, a year filled with blessing, filled with love, filled with understanding, filled with acceptance. Receive all that which we desire from a centered place, and that it will serve us in order for us to serve others. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful Shabbat, and I will see you next year. Bye-bye.